And we're open. I'm also going to start YouTube. All right, we are live. Hello, friends. We're going to give it until right at the top of the hour to start. Thank you all for being here.
Okay.
Give it one more minute. Let folks fill the room. Hello. Make sure my chat is working for everybody as well. Welcome. All right, I'm just gonna quickly check my email to make sure something is not stuck in Zoom land. We did have, 50 people registered. So I hope we're not stuck. Here. All right, friends. I hope friends are going to find us today. For some reason, Zoom seems to be making folks log into Zoom, which is not something we tend to do. So let's just give it a few more minutes. Thank you, Zoom. Weird. All right, I see some folks finding their way in. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start and see if I can. That is weird. It's weird. There's something weird. We're gonna roll, and I'm gonna investigate after the intro. So, welcome. Thank you all for being here. You are here as part of our One City, One Book campaign, and we are here to talk with a panel featuring A.B.O Comix, and they're going to talk about their latest endeavor, a podcast called Teleway 411. And as I mentioned, this is part of our big literary campaign called One City, One Book. It is our 16th year, and we're celebrating the amazing work of Earlonne Woods and Nigel Poor for their book, This is Ear Hustle, based on the podcast by the same name. And I also want to acknowledge that our library occupies the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ramaytush Ohlone people, who are the original inhabitants of the San Francisco Peninsula. We recognize that we benefit from living and working in their traditional homeland, and as uninvited guests, we affirm their sovereign rights as First Peoples and wish to pay our respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush community. And I put in the chat box some great resources that you could check out, including Segurite Land Trust. They're a really great organization out of the East Bay, and they're all women led. Whoa, sorry for that long link. All right, so as I mentioned, this is One City, One Book. So it's been going on for a solid 3 months now. So we are coming to an end, sadly, because wow, some amazing people have been here at our virtual and in person. And so it's really inspiring. It's been really inspiring. And so not only has it been people who are like in the field of incarceration or recently returned residents and working in that industry, but also, I don't like that word industry, working in that field of folks coming home and helping folks inside. So it's been a lot of people like that, but it's also been like a lot of people who just want to know more. So I've really been inspired by the folks that have been coming to the events and asking questions and being there and being present. So we do have quite a couple more events coming up, including tomorrow night, the amazing Cap Brooks and James Burke from the Anti-Police Terror Project are going to talk about what's actually needed to keep communities safe, and I have a feeling it's keep communities safe, but how can we do that? Let's do that. December 10th, in person at the main library, the New College Law School is going to debut their documentary about their school. The amazing Sarah Cruzon will be in the main library December 11th talking about her book, I Cried to Dream Again. Sarah has spent 2+ decades inside for the murder of her abuser. And with a support and amazing campaign, she was freed and wrote this memoir that is really, it's stunning, it's tragic, but it's also really empowering. And so is she. She was featured on episode 13 of Ear Hustle called Dirty Water. So check both of those out. Please come to the library. The best day at the library is Sunday. So come on down. And then next week, December 12th and 13th, our final 2 One City, One Book events featuring William James Association with their Brothers in Pen, a writing and reading group in San Quentin. And then Inspiration, Knowledge, and Curiosity While Incarcerated. And this is a panel featuring Dr. Jeannie Austin, who is an SFPL librarian. She works for our Jail and Reentry Services Department. And this panel is going to be amazing. And then one last event that's not One City, One Book, but is just an event that's going to be great. This Thursday, 6:30, the Correct Theater. If you haven't been to the Correct Theater, it's a gorgeous, full-on auditorium. And we'll be screening The Mission. And this is about the Latino Task Force and the work they did during the pandemic and beyond. So please come and check that out. All right, so without further ado, today we have I'm going to call them dear friends from now, because we have worked together for a while now, and I'm just always blown away and impressed by the work that they do. And they are very hardworking, they're very dedicated, and the people that they help are also, just impressed by them. So I just know that they are lifelines to a lot of people, and we let's thank them. So today we have A.B.O. Comix, and they're going to be talking about Teleway 411, which is their podcast. And A.B.O. is a Bay Area-based prisoner support organization. And today we have with us Sirbrian Spease. I should have asked you to pronounce your last name, Sirbrian.
Spease.
Tell me again.
Spease.
Spease.
Yes.
Thank you. Is a formerly East Coast-based artist and the author of The Boy of Hearts, the first of 3-part autobiography series produced and published by A.B.O. Comix publication. Brian Meegan is a formerly incarcerated artist and personal trainer whose work is featured throughout Queer Prisoners Comics Anthology and the A.B.O. Comix publication. If you didn't catch on by now, A.B.O. is a publisher as well as a podcast. And so they do a lot of publishing from folks inside. A.B.O. Comix staff here today is Casper Sindre and Ollie Mills, and they're going to be leading the panel today. And I'm just going to give a brief overview of A.B.O. is a collective of creators and activists who work to amplify the voices of LGBTQ prisoners through art. And I'm going to stop sharing now and turn it over to A.B.O. Comix and our panel.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So
Hello.
before we get into questions for our panelists who have so wonderfully obliged us with their presence, we are going to take a moment to remember somebody who was intended to be on this panel with us. A dear friend of Casper's for many years of letter writing, a person who had come home to us a while ago and has since passed on to the next realm. So we have a small memorial that we'd like to share with all of y'all about him and his life.
So one day I was Jeferson Borba de Souza, citizen of Brazil. The next day I was Richard Romero, a Venezuelan.
So did everyone in prison, they always referred to you as Richard? Nobody knew you as Jeferson?
Nobody believed Jefferson exists. More than 2 decades without the right to have my name, without the right to have my nationality, we even have the right to speak my own language. I looked at myself and I said, what happened? You are barely 40 years old and your life ends, and then now I'm 63 years old. I didn't stop me to continue to do my work, to continue to write, to spread the knowledge. I doing what I think I'm supposed to do during all these years.
You know, in this working with people who are in prison, I know the gigantic miscarriages of justice in our system and the way people are villainized and accused of things that they didn't do all the time, but it's constantly shocking to me still to hear how far these things are taken and how many lives are absolutely destroyed by it. I appreciate you sharing all that you went through and letting people know and continuing to put on a happy, smiling face all the time and be so brave in sharing it and continuing your work. And you've been through more in your lifetime than anybody should ever have to endure. And I wish I could give you the biggest hug and see you in person.
I would say A.B.O. Comix made the difference of my life in so many ways. I can even start to tell. You guys gave me the hope I needed so much in that horrible moment. And you guys continue to give this hope after I left that nightmare. So I would say my gratitude to you is eternal. I have no words to express how much you guys are important, not only to me, but to other people.
To get to know just like the interesting, most incredible things about human beings, it's a dream come true for me. And to get to talk to you and hear your story, and the privilege of getting to share that with the world it's so much more meaningful to me than I could ever put into words.
I'd say my story is a little more unique than most stories,
Yeah.
but also has to do with a lot of people who actually are living that same kind of experience I had. Not to the level I had, hopefully not, but they are also experiencing their own version of their nightmares. And you are there to helping them to actually overcome this. And that means a lot, a real lot.
Absolutely, Jefferson, it's so good to see
You guys
you.
are the best.
Well, we both send you love. I'll have Ollie come over here and say hi to you real quick.
Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Oh, you guys are so great.
Aw,
You guys
so are you.
wonderful.
We love you very much.
Thank you so much.
Much love to you and to everybody. Give the cats some good pets for us.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. That'll be good.
That would be great. Thank you, guys.
We love
And
you.
see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Bye, Jeferson.
Thank y'all for taking a moment to remember with us someone who should have been on this panel today, but for obvious reasons couldn't be. Casper, is there anything that you wanted to say about Jeferson before we move on?
Sure. Yeah, I wish he could have been here with us. I know he would have really loved to be able to tell his story, himself, but he left us with so many incredible books that we're hoping to continue to publish and send the proceeds to his caretakers who took care of him in the final months of his life and became his forever chosen family. And we just, thank you for helping us remember him and keep his story alive. And we miss him very much.
In addition to all of those publications, we will be releasing an episode of our podcast in memoriam to Jeferson with more of the recorded conversations that he and Casper had over the last few months of his life. So watch this space for that episode.
And we're so privileged and honored to have two of our really good friends here today who were on our first season of Teleway 411, people that we wrote with while they were incarcerated and got to publish some of their incredible comics and incredible books. And we are so happy to be able to have them and to share their stories. So we have some questions that we'd love to ask, but maybe you two could introduce yourself and say a little bit about who you are.
Okay, who is that? Me, Sirbrian?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Sirbrian Spease. I met Casper back in 2000 and maybe 15, 17.
Yeah,
And the 2020, 15, I forgot when, but
2017.
2017. And well, I have personality disorder, and I thought that I was by myself. I thought it was just I felt like it felt like the whole world was painting me into a corner. I had a mom who was a pastor who thought that she can break the curse of me being gay by doing things to my body. I never knew in the years down the road that pain would turn into a personality named Devin. And how does Devin work is how it works is, okay, I'm Sirbrian right now. Like if I get triggered, if I see maybe like a Black woman hitting a Black child, or I see a person of color hitting a child, that right there would make me lose control. Lose control of the body. My body would get weak and I would lose control of it, and I will be put into a PTSD episode. Now, where will I go? When I go to my PTSD episode, I really can't tell you. It depends on what triggered me. Sometimes things trigger me to take me back when the times, the exact time and the date how I was being abused. And sometimes I could be stuck in that PTSD episode, sometimes for months. And so Devin, who has control of the body, his job is to protect my body for homophobia and my pastor mom and any homophobia to come. So he has been there throughout my whole life. I would say that he's more like, I guess he's like my brother. He's actually my only real friend that, I don't know how to say, like, sometimes like I can never ever say I'm really alone, because when I look in the mirror and I'm talking to myself in the mirror, I feel like that, it's okay, because I'm talking to Devin, and Devin is not going to judge me, because I know a lot of people don't understand me. There's no such thing as a person with personality disorder. You really be surprised how powerful your spirit is. So for some reason, I mean, I never thought in a million years, while in prison, that I would run into A.B.O. Comix. I was kind of scared to tell my story at first, because I felt like, people didn't really believe in personality disorder. Personality disorder starts while the mind's developing, and so whatever personality, whatever different alter egos are formed during that time while your mind is developing, those are the ones you're gonna have for the rest of your life. Now, I know y'all may not say this to me, but I know I'm a freak. I am. I'm a freak. I am. I'm a dangerous freak. I'm a freak, dangerous man. You know who Devin is? Devin is a person who's the watcher. Devin is a animal. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, I'm a very dangerous person. At first I felt like, nah, no, I'm not. Until like me and Devin have a journal that we both share, and when he has the body, he does things to the when he has the body, and remember, I'm gone, and I'm in this PTSD episode where that got put in because I was triggered to be put in there, and Devin has the body, and only thing Devin knows is no matter who's around, who's talking to me mentally, spiritually, physically, his job is to wipe the slate clean. Sometimes he does things um, to people just to try to hoping that it can break the stereotype. So um, I don't know what else to really, well, that's that part there. And for some reason, I gotta say, I was in prison. It's this guy in prison. I mean, this girl in prison. I'm sorry, it's a girl. And his name is Rico. And I met him in prison. Um, well, I'm sorry. I didn't meet him in prison. I'm sorry. Devin met him in prison because I mean, I don't know if y'all have read my book. I have a
Hey,
female.
Sirbrian, we're going to ask you this question later on. Do you mind holding on to that for a second?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Brian, do you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Hi, I'm Brian. So I was in prison 7.5 years. I got out about 2.5 years ago. And yeah, I met up with A.B.O. Comix towards the end. They Black and Pink was a publication that was my only lifeline sometimes to gay community, incarcerated gay community. And when they had an ad in the back about this new place, A.B.O Comix, that was looking for comics, and they gave full instructions on how to create a comic. So it was very engaging and very welcoming. And yeah, I drew a comic for the first time, really, and they published it, and Casper and Ollie are just so amazingly engaged. They would write back, and they would they letter write, and they talk to people, and it's really so important during your time of solitude in there. And when I got out, they had asked me to be on the podcast. So when I got off probation, I decided to make San Francisco, Oakland, one of my first trips to meet them in person. These people that were kind of a lifeline for my last 2 years of prison, which is oddly sometimes right before you get out is sometimes harder than while you're in for the bulk of it, because now all of a sudden all the anxiety of getting out is there.
Well, thank you both so much for giving some intros and some backstory. And goodness, it's so glad I'm just so glad to have you home and to have you on this panel. And you both are so very special to me, and I know to Ollie and to all of us. So I guess we'll delve a little bit into if you both would like to talk a little about what your experience was like doing an actual podcast interview about what you experienced in prison. Whoever wants to start is cool.
I guess I could start. My experience in prison was not good. I can't say it wasn't good. It was, when you in prison and you are a proud gay man, it's like you have, it's like automatically you're labeled as a sex offender, or you're labeled as a pedophile, or you're labeled as all of these things. It's like there have been times that guards have came in and they beat, and if their child was gay at home, they would come in and they would take it out on you. They would say, it's because people like you. No, you're not going to eat today. No, you're not going to eat today. No, you're not going to get your canteen today. No, you're not going to get this today. I'm just having this day and you're going to have this bad day too. That was one of the situations I had. This was every day. So it was like I was going through situations where it was all my fault. Their child being proud to be gay was my fault. So sometimes I was out of it was like I'd be sleeping and a guard would come, 4 guards would come in and just wake me up and say, "You're going to the hole." I'm not like, what did I do wrong? Oh no, you're going to the hole because it's all your fault, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it's all your fault. Just pack your shit up and go to the hole. So that was one of the situations that I had. Then the other situation was the fact that the guards were homophobic. The fact that they were homophobic, it's certain things that they let go. It's certain things that they turned the other cheek. Like when they seen they will let you get molested, they'll let you get raped, they'll let you do sexual favors. You do sexual favors on the guards. Or you really want to be a girl? I work all these damn hours for you to protect you in prison. The least you can do is give me a sexual favor. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm telling the sergeant. Okay, well, you tell the sergeant, okay, all we gotta do is make up some type of lie, and guess what? You'll be in population every day where it's just always going to be just me and you. You're just going to keep on giving me sexual favors until I feel like letting up off of you.
That sounds like such an awful experience, and I really appreciate that you shared it with us here. And I'm wondering, Brian, if you have anything that you want to add?
It's a varied experience for me. I remember started to view my prison experience as like there was the first like year of getting adjusted, and the first time I was in cell, the first time I was sent to the solitary was for actually a relationship with someone, and that was devastating. But it also gave me time to realize what I could come back stronger. And when I got out of the hole after 60 days, that first time, I knew better what, so I had a drinking and drug problem, and I learned to adopt those qualities without drinking and drugging anymore, and living very authentically so that nobody could come at me, because most everyone is hiding something, and the less I had to hide, the less I could be hurt. The only thing I really had to hide was my HIV status, because literally on the rules book, there is a rule that says, because of the misperception of perceived contamination, I could be fired from most jobs in prison. And so although they admit in the actual rule that is the misperception, it is still actually a rule. So that was the only thing I really had to work to hide. And it was also a challenge. It was a challenge with people hitting on you and this is before the knowledge of undetectable equals untransmittable. So there was, I went through a whole journey through prison, and understanding my queerness versus my previous thoughts of just being a gay man, and understanding the guys in prison were always going to view me as a woman. I could play spades with them. I could watch basketball games. I could work out with them every day. I was always going to be the girl. So it was actually in a weird way liberating for me to no longer be an expectation. I could recreate whatever I wanted. And coming back and talking to you both is, there was crying that Casper lovingly cut out of most of my podcast.
Yeah, I want to hear from both of you what Casper was like as an interviewer.
Oh no.
Well, Casper brung out a side of me that I didn't think I had in me to tell. Like, because I lived in a dark world, and how she asked the questions, she knew how to ask the question the right way to make me comfortable to just say who I really am. And she made me feel like, you know what, say what you say, and together I'm gonna be by your side to explain it to the world. I needed that. I needed to hear that. Especially, I really, really needed to hear that. And the fact that she cared about my relationship in prison, I really didn't want to tell Casper that. I'm not gonna lie, I did not want to tell Casper that. I really thought that Casper was going to judge me. You know, having a I really didn't know I didn't know she really um understood what my movement was, because like me, I'm from North Philly, where they have their own gay community, where it's like a neighborhood, they call it. So it's like where I wound up being, I'm considered a homo thug. What is a homo thug? A homo thug is a person who was the Rockweller of the LGBT community, who would do whatever it takes, whatever it takes to protect the LGBT community. Do I tell you what I did? I probably not, because I just incriminate myself. But I took that to prison with me. I met him. I met a man named Rico, and from the distance, and how genuine he was. Um, the woman that he was on the inside. Okay, right now. Okay, I'm Devin. I'm sorry. I switched over. I apologize. I'm Devin right now. Um, I'm the masculine part.
Thanks for letting us know.
I apologize. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm the masculine part of this body, Devin. And I met this girl named Rico in prison, and just looking from a distance, you know, because I can feel what Sirbrian feels. I know Sirbrian had that side of him, which was Donna on the inside. And to see, never thought that I could run into somebody who was just like Donna. That right there touched me in a way where I really felt like there was a vibe so deep that I felt like I was actually married in prison. Like I came around the homo thugs and said, listen, look at them over there. Look at them over there. They want to come over here. They want to be claimed. That's how you say it in prison. Claimed. Because once you claimed, you got the world. As long as you come home to a homo thug, as long as you come home to a wifey boy, that's all that matters. You know, the stuff that I stealing food from Comix, stealing food from the prison pantry, and giving it to Rico when I went back home to him. And for some reason, how did he cook the food? He figured it out somehow. All I know, I came back and I had food cooked. How did he do it? I don't know, but Brillo Pad, however he did it, he made it. And it was like he was the one that even gave me the thought of, even because I would ask him everything. And I'm kind of scared. Like I don't want to lose a good friend, but I don't want to lose a good friend, but I'm too afraid to gain a friend, because I don't want to do what I don't want to put us back in this situation. And so there, Rico read every paper that A.B.O Comix sent and said, no, these people are trustworthy. This is what you've been protecting right here. This is what you're protecting. This. I trust them. You trust them. Tell them. Tell. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna tell our story in comic form. Will anybody listen to it? I don't know. I'm going to tell the truth. How I protect you. How I ran one of the biggest homo thug gangs in prison. So deep that everybody was coming out the closet proud. And it was like, it was no more faggot this, or excuse my language, or any sort any type of discrimination. Why? Because it was like, watch what you say, because it's a chance that that person might be dating a homo thug. And Sirbrian trained those homo thugs in a way that made them like, look, if you are a homo thug, yes, sir. How do you know I'm a homo thug? Well, we're being trained by you, sir. Being a homo thug doesn't stop because you're in prison. Homo thug is, I said, it's a big responsibility being a masculine person. People think a masculine person is just a masculine person and they're just a top. No, it's a big responsibility because you got a woman to protect. Rico's a woman. I got a letter from Rico. Now, I haven't seen Rico. I haven't talked to Rico for a long time. You talking about a couple of years. He sent me a letter and said, do you think of me? I said, no, that can't be Rico. So I didn't believe it. So I wrote a letter back and I said, prove me that you're Rico. Tell me some things that only I know. So I did a questionnaire and he answered all the questions. Hey, I'm masculine. I'm crying and like, oh my God, is you serious? Oh, I might be coming out in 2 years. What am I going to do? What I'm going to do? Where I'm going to live? I said, what are you talking about? You coming home to the homo thug. You'll come home to the homo thug. And you still the same. I said, well, look, I'm trying to change. I'm not going to lie. Because you to understand me, she's dating Devin, not Sirbrian, because Sirbrian is the girl. Oh my God, you serious? Yeah. And I said, and you can do marriage out here. Things has changed since you've been gone. Oh my God, you actually, I come home, I'm gonna be safe, I'm gonna be okay. I said, you're gonna be okay. And I understand more. And I wrote the last letter I wrote was more proud you are to be who you are, the more masculine I am. It makes me more masculine. He said, what does that mean? Just think about it. Some people may not know what that means. Some people may. It makes me more masculine. Do people ask me in the street, are you gay? I'm not gay. You a faggot? I'm not a faggot. I be lying, I'm not a faggot. What are you? I'm a homo thug. Oh, my bad. I heard the word spread throughout all the different states. No disrespect. I have a shirt. I have about 13 shirts that say homo thug on it. So now I'm writing back and forth to Rico, back and forth in prison. He's kind of scared. He said some things that happened to him, but now things have changed because he knew eventually he's going through. I said, go through what you got to go through. Don't get in no trouble. I got you. I got you. Long as I say I got you, long as a homo thug say you got you, or a female stud, those who know what a female stud is. Okay, all right now. So long as a female stud or homo thug say we got you, we got you, we got you, boo, we got you. You just be yourself, be who you supposed to be, and we gonna be what we supposed to be. And that's where it is right now.
Evan, that's so great. I'm so thrilled to hear that you're back in contact with Rico and that you're continuing to write and he can come home and have a home with you. And it's definitely not lost on me, and it means so much to me to have had your trust. Because Brian, we were talking about this yesterday, that it is so hard for people on the inside to put trust in people on the outside, and trust that they have their best interest at heart, and trust that they don't want to manipulate or take advantage of folks. And so it means so much to all of us at A.B.O Comix that we were able to earn your trust and hopefully keep it. And Brian, is there anything that you would like to add in that realm, or anything else about your experience?
Yeah, I agree with both Devin and you, Jasper, that and Ollie, that trust is extremely important. Yeah, we were talking about this because because I do have a lot of doubt about intentions, about navigating the honesty of people, and you become very solitary in your pursuits in prison, and that you are going to because relying on somebody is first of all, even if you do think that you can trust somebody, it's proven even with that first relationship, you get moved. If the guards think you're comfortable, or if somebody thinks that, you know, if you remotely even exhibit happiness, they'll try to take it down. And that was what happened with my first and we got sent to solitary for it, and then got separated for the rest of our time. So even if you think you have something that you can trust, it can be pulled away from you. So exhibiting happiness or trust is dangerous. And them coming out, we don't feel like society trusts us, and we don't trust them just as much. So the correspondences with you both during my last 2 years, though, really made me feel engaged in a way that I hadn't for a while. I was also very fortunate. My last year, I met one of my best friends who actually called me today. She is back in, so she and I did our last year together because she got jammed up again. So she and I talked today, and she was telling me that how much our friendship means to her. And it really is, to people inside, to find somebody. She had done 20 years before we met, got out, got jammed up again, and is now back for another 12 years possibly. So we talk on the phone now as often as she wants. I make sure to keep money on the phone so that she can call whenever she wants. Just because being a queer person in prison, she was telling me today that trusting even just the other queer people is hard for her, and which I understand. And I don't know who she's in with right now. I don't know what types of situations she's in a different prison than we were in together. So I don't know how it moves, but one of my friends is there and I have him watching out. But trust me, she can take care of herself. But and actually he called me today too. So it is the having somebody on the outside that they can talk to, even if, especially when it's been somebody that has been in prison and understands the code that she can talk in, so that other people can't clock what she's saying, is important. Because if we can talk shorthand, that helps a lot. Because you don't want someone, as the podcast is called, ear hustling, and, you know, clocking your moves, because a lot of queer movement in prison is under the radar as much as possible, because we're disliked by so many people, but yet sought after by so many people, and it becomes a very confusing language to try to keep up with. Because the guards dislike us, the other inmates dislike us, but then everybody also wants to, you know, come at us sideways, either as a hit on or as a threat. Like I remember somebody told me that I overheard one of my friends say, "Oh, you can't make gay jokes. Brian will beat you up." Like, I was actually really proud of that. I was like, yeah, I will take a stand. That is what I will stand up for. I was like, I will not let you bash us anymore. That's it. I'm done. I was like, you all are hiding stuff. I'm not. So yeah, I'm not taking it anymore. So
That rocks. I want to leave time for audience questions, but I wanted to pivot really quickly to looking towards the future. Both of y'all are incredible creators who I'm so fortunate to work with. And I wanted to give both of you space to talk about what your current projects are, whether they're with us or with other organizations or just entirely from your own heads. I know that Sabrine's working on a book, and Devin too is also working on it. So a joint collaboration, which is exciting. And Brian was sharing with us yesterday about some of the advocacy work that you're doing. So I wanted to leave space open to talk about those things.
Okay, well, my goal is, okay. All right, this is Devin. Okay, me and Sirbrian wrote a second book. Because I wanted the world to hear raw material from a person. I'm a person who shares the same body. I don't see myself as an alter ego. I don't see myself as all those acronyms that they have. I'm not part of that. That's something totally different. That has nothing to do with me. I was born in this body. Homophobia, transphobia together, with other things together, gave birth to me. So my goal, actually, I did what everybody already knew. I did already write a book, The Boy of Hearts. I wanted to go a little bit deeper into it by actually doing an audio book to see how that plays out. At first, I was kind of scared to do the audio book because I've been doing research and I found out that I am the first person. I would be the first person who helped a author write a book, because they say I'm not considered an author. They say I'm not considered an author. That's what they said. That's what my therapist said. That's what she said. She said, you can't put your name on a book. You can't, because you're not an author. You're just you. I think that was disrespectful, but I took it for what it is. I didn't harm her, not like that. But so that's that right there. I'm trying to do an audio book, see how far that goes. I'm not that good in writing. I also in the process. Well, I actually just got done my second book. I gave it to Oli. I don't know if she read some of it, but I know it seems kind of. I wrote it this time. I wrote more of it this time, so I don't know how I write because I'm not from y'all world. So I don't know if they can understand what it means, because I use words different than y'all, because y'all put y'all words together different than I do. So I don't know. I'm still learning how to talk, to put the words the right way with y'all in a good way. I was a bad person at one time, so I'm trying to get better, talking better and being better. So, and I'm hoping that I just don't know, that kind of scares me a little bit. I feel like that, I'm the first person to do this. Like, is this a book, or is this a witchcraft book? Like, I don't know how the world's going to take it. So I wanted to see what you felt about that, Oli.
I mean, I love it. I don't want to spoil too much for the audience, but we will be publishing that second of 3 parts, at least so far, of this book, and you will be credited alongside Sirbrian in the author section.
So how are they going to put it? Are they going to put, like, how is it going to be written? So like, is it going to be like Sirbrian Spease and Devin, or is it going to be?
That's the plan so far.
Oh, okay.
They'll be credited as co-authors together.
Okay. and I wanted to ask the audience, be your honest opinion. I'm a person who likes honest opinion. This is how I am. This is because good criticism, bad criticism, they both should get credit to. Do you think, I mean, would how can I see it? See, that's why I said I'm not that good with my words. If you saw a book like that out there, like let's say I decided to write my own book myself, just me, without the help of Sirbrian, and fully write all by myself. I mean, could y'all see yourself picking a book up? Just be honest. If not, it's okay. I just want to know. Somebody from the audience, how do you feel about coming across a book that's written by a person who is like a person like myself? I don't know how to say it. So.
I think it would be extremely interesting. I read your first book and I can't wait for the other two.
Yeah.
No, I mean, okay, go ahead.
It sounds like you're getting feedback from the audience to that effect too. Yeah, people seem fascinated and curious to read it.
Yeah, Devin, your point of view is going to be just as interesting as Sirbrian's.
But even
That's the truth.
Even if it's not from, it's not part of y'all.
Of course.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't need to read more about me.
Yeah, I think what I love about the work that we get to do is that we get the opportunity to publish a lot of firsts. So people making their first comic ever, like both of you got to do, people getting to express themselves in a book that most of our audience members or just people in general have not gotten this perspective from from mainstream kind of publishing. Like, to get to hear the stories of people in prison, the real life experiences that they've had that differ so much from like our average kind of book that you might pick up in a bookstore, I think really makes what we get to do very unique and very special. And I think it's absolutely incredible that you are writing down your experience to the very best of your ability, and you're doing an absolutely incredible job doing it. And I can't wait to delve into this book more next year and actually get to publish it.
Yeah.
But I also want to leave some time for Brian to share some of the projects that you're working on too.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So one of the things I've been working on for many, many years since I was in prison was a book series for children of incarcerated parents. So children of incarcerated parents are underserved and underrepresented and under attack a lot, honestly. And so to further that, I've been actually, I got my peer support counseling for New York. So I'm planning to move to New York next year. And I want to also work in prison reentry, specifically trying to create a space for queer people reentering. Because between the suicide rate and the relapse rate for queer people, it's higher. And it's something that in the recovery rooms, it feels sometimes awkward for me to have. I had 7.5 years of sobriety when I got out, but I didn't have a sober family. And then I had to do reentry work with the same people that were the perpetrators of the issues and the some of the violence I experienced in prison. So now I didn't have a safe place there to talk. And I want to help try to create that space and bring some of the resume writing and the trust programs and some other listening and decision-making programs that I helped try to create while I was in prison to reentry, because reentry is a place where I feel there is more opportunity to open up dialogue than in the confines of a prison. There are people that are far more knowledgeable about the prison system than I am. I know my experience, but I can help listen to people's reentry better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for both of you, to both of you for sharing. I love you both so much, and I'm so excited for all that you're working on. Do we have any questions from the audience that we want to try and get to? I see somebody asked, were you not able to be out inside, or were you, and there were ramifications? I think we talked a little bit about that. I admire you both so much for being out and authentic while you were in prison, because a lot of times it's very scary for queer people. That's information that a lot of people have to keep to themselves and hide that part of themselves for their own safety and security. And I think it's really incredible that you two were able to be your authentic selves while you're inside. But I don't know if there's anything else that you might want to share on that.
Oh, let me tell you, that was not as easy as you think it was. That was the most dangerous thing I've ever put myself in. Let me tell you something. I have been paralyzed in prison. I have been paralyzed. And then I sit in myself, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this all the way. And this is Devin. And they was like, because they brought me out, the guards was like started because they know I was a person, which I call personality disorder. And they was like saying things to me to trigger me and saying things to me to trigger me. And I just kept on being beaten up. I just kept on being beaten up, being pale. I have had my arm broken. I had my wrist broken. You know, those who read my book, I'm blind in my left eye. So I lost vision in this eye. So can you imagine when you're blind in one eye and you lose a vision in this eye? I had put myself in some dangerous, the nurses have told me, like, why did you put yourself out there in that dangerous? I said, because number one, I know I'm leaving. Number two, I'm leaving my man in here, my wife. I'm leaving my wife in here. And I want all the other homo thugs out there who I have fought with them, with their situation, with their wives in prison. I want to really put it down deep and rich so they can take care of my wife. I put myself in some dangerous situations. So I would say that's what we need out here, but I'm not here to try to get nobody hurt. My mind, the way I see life and how I see things is not how the way you see things. And I can only represent me as Devin. I can't represent Sirbrian. Something that y'all said, it's not your fault, okay? Something that y'all said kind of triggered Sirbrian, so he went to a PTSD episode. But don't feel bad. It's just this how life is, I accepted what I am. I have personality, so it's what it is. Okay, but yeah, I put myself in some dangerous situations for some reason. I just don't know how to control it. I felt like me being beaten was like, it was like made me smile. It made me like, it was like joy. For them to beat me for a reason, for them to beat me for a good reason, I know it may not seem right to y'all, but they beat me and they put me in a hospital and put me here and going through rehabilitations and oh, you a girl, huh? Okay, well, you're gonna be our girl. For us guards who have doing night shifts overnight. You gonna be that girl then. Oh, well, you a homo thug, right? No, you ain't gonna be we gonna try to snatch your homo thug from you. They have guards that try to snatch my homo thug from me. But because I love my baby so much and I didn't want to get separated from my baby, I know he was saying that sometimes they try to take that from you. They have guards that have came to me and said, look, we know that y'all two are item. Okay. Now, I'm putting this out there. It is what it is. For those who judge me, it is what it is. Yes, I did what I had to do to try to protect my boy, and which is swallow my pride and drop my masculinity in prison just to keep me and him in the same room so I can protect him. So not everybody can do this. You know, I don't want nobody to be a Rockweller. You know, I was telling Casper I wanted to change. Did I tell you that, Casper? I want to change being a Rockweller. I told you that, right?
I don't know.
Told you that? No,
I
yeah,
don't know if I remember that.
you probably forgot that. I said that I'm trying to be in an email. I said I'm trying to be a better, you know, will I always be a homo thug? No, I will always be a homo thug, but I'm trying to be in a different direction with it, where stop making body counts. I'm not gonna lie to you. I might as well tell the truth. When you still set me, it is what it is. I do whatever I can to try to pave the way for the new generation of the LGBT. That's just how I am. I've been doing that in prison. I've been doing it before prison. This is how I am. But through your help, making this movie means the world to me. I'm not smart, you know what I mean? I'm Devin. I can barely make sentences right. I only get words when I hear you say them. I put them down, try to put everything together. So making this movie will change me, even change me as a person. The Boy of Hearts by Sirbrian and Devin, and explaining who Devin is. Cause like I was telling you, I don't get mad when somebody call me a faggot, because I told her, I'm sorry, ooh, that slipped. When I told Casper that faggot is an acronym to me. You know, that means to me, I tell the girls out here, the fabulous and the gorgeous go out tonight. I tell everybody that. So everybody that's around me, when somebody say faggot, everybody start clapping and cheering and start dancing in the street. Make everybody feel like, man. And then I told them a story about the word faggot. That the word faggot came from, I told all the kids that come in the circles, like, I'm gonna tell you something. The word faggot is, back in the day, they used to hang gays up, and they used to have these sticks they used to put underneath gays and set them on fire. Those sticks are called faggots. That's why they call people fag. That's why they call gays faggots. And then to know that they know that, things to know that I'm trying to take your advice and trying to change in a better way. I'm not perfect, because I'm learning. I'm still learning this stuff, therapy and EBT, BBT skills, all these skills things y'all have. I'm still trying to learn, but it's not going to be easy when I have my mom in the back of our mom in the back of my mind. That right there is what makes me the gorilla I am.
Yeah, Devin, you were born of really intense trauma, and I remember when you emailed me and just laid out how hard you're trying and what you're doing in therapy and how hard you're working to become better and do better. That means so much, and life is just a process of trying to heal and do better, and you're doing incredible, and we're just very happy to be part of it. Thank you for sharing.
I just wanted to say, because I used to cry. I stopped crying in prison. And I'm Devin, because everybody was calling me. Y'all the only person that haven't called me a freak, or put me in a glass box and put Sabrina in a glass box and do all these things to him to see what triggers him and what doesn't trigger him, and kind of tortured us. You're the only people that figure out how to speak to us in a way where it even makes me respect you. Because for me, I'm not gonna tell you, even gays, I can barely even trust gays. So I'm still learning, because sometimes I feel like some people don't know what it means is to being gay.
Mhm.
Some people don't know that the meaning of being gay. That's just me. I'm just saying.
Thank you so much for sharing, Devin. I know we're coming to a close here on time.
We've
Brian,
actually got plenty of time.
oh, do we? Are we going till 8:30?
Yep.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, then we've got plenty of time. Brian, I want to give you the floor. I don't remember what the question was. I
think it was the ramifications of being openly gay in prison.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, that was the question.
As I said, I was sent to the hole for the first time because of my relationship. There's a federal law called PREA, and it's Prison Rape Elimination Act. Sounds like a fantastic concept. It is weaponized against gay people heavily. It basically made every relationship, anything consensual or unconsensual, considered rape. So even though I had a consensual relationship, that's why we were sent to solitary, was because of PREA. I actually got a chance to talk to somebody about it one time. There was somebody came in and they actually asked me a question about what my opinion of PREA was. And I asked them, why would you separate two people for consensual relationship? And they said, because those two people would fight harder for each other. I was like, and yet you have family members. And they go, well, we don't always know their family members. And I'm like, so they literally just try to separate us, and they try to keep us all separate from each other. And I remember I was so fortunate that there was one of the people on the block with me when Pulse happened. It was one of the rare times I was actually on a block with another queer person, and I wasn't by myself. And I remember waking up that morning and watching the news and being absolutely shocked. I'm so happy that they were there with me to share that space, because it was difficult and it's very isolating. And when the guy that I was sent to solitary with, when he left, we actually were in about 4 or 5 years together. And when he left, people came at me because he had been getting into fights. And despite us not being in the same building, he was still always very protective. And I remember somebody tried to sexually assault me and smack my head against a bunk, and after trying to choke me. But it also fell into my standing up and being authentic and not letting him scare me. So I came back at him with words, actually, because he was bigger than me. So I knew I couldn't fight him. But I knew that I also had what I'm not proud of anymore, but was a slick mouth. And the slick mouth kept me out of trouble more. And it is something that I really had to, I had to stop it, because it was starting to hurt me. My own anger and my own defensiveness and my own verbal and physical violence was getting out of hand. And I had to pull back. And I started to read and write a lot more, and started to really focus on my future instead of my current situation. And having you guys was a pivotal thing, because it gave me, as I said, it gave me trust in somebody on the outside. So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you both for sharing your responses to that question. It looks like we have one more question for our panelists, and then a couple questions for, I guess, A.B.O. I'll ask them to Casper. But I'll start with the question for our panelists. It's written, how do you think your relationship to your race and your identity as a queer person has shifted from when you were incarcerated to where you find yourself today?
I feel it, when I was going through what I went through with my mom, and then, you know, and then leaving there and then going to prison, for some reason, it seemed like being a person of color, a Black person, that is one of the most dangerous things in the world, being a Black person and being gay, because of the fact that it's like being Black, like, you got some people out there. I know you may not see this, right, but just listen to me. You got some people who look up to people of color for being brave. People look up, dang, you know what? No, man, I can do it. Shoot, that boy can do it. I can do it. So it's like people look up to Black people to be brave and stand up for themselves, and Martin Luther King and all of them. They look up to being brave. Not trying to be racist, you know. Even some of the rap songs, you got other races that will rap that song just to feel brave. So it's like when you find out that you are, when people find that you are, and you're somebody, especially in the hood or in prison, there is a very slim chance that you can be murdered. Like, I've almost been murdered. This ain't no game. I've almost been murdered in prison because of the fact that I had a masculine voice. This is me, not Sirbrian. I had a masculine voice. I came from North Philly. North Philly is considered, I know y'all already over there, but I know you have heard of North Philly, haven't y'all? You've heard North Philly, right? Okay. So I'm considered from North Philly. So what are you trying to do? You trying to mess up, you trying to disrespect, you trying to people not look up to Black people bad enough. Like, people don't look up to Black people as it is for anything, or people from the hood for anything. So now you trying to mess that up for us? That's what people say to me. That's what I hear. So you're gonna take this ass whooping, or we're gonna break your fingers, or you're gonna break your legs, or you're gonna be a body count. What it's gonna be? Well, I guess you're gonna break my fingers. So that's what I go through. And for all those out there who are listening, who know that I'm telling the truth, and you probably think I'm breaking the code, it is what it is. That's all I can really say for that.
Thank you.
So it's actually something I wrote an essay on for myself. So I've been writing some essays as in my own form of journaling, and and also processing what happened. And I had read a book by Chris Wilson called The Master Plan, and it was all about leaving a blueprint for other people to follow. His was about getting released from prison and the steps he took before getting out. Mine is more about leaving a very honest mental journey to process things so that others can maybe hopefully glean some insight. And so for me, because I have extreme privilege in my race and appearance, that I easily fit into the gay man mold. I was a bartender and a personal trainer and a sex worker, and I learned to navigate that language of manipulating and sarcasm, and I could control the bar, the client that paid me to be there with them. I could master the situation. And as I said, I learned to adopt those qualities while I was in prison, but sober, and I used them to my advantage. I also realized while I was there that they weren't beneficial to my mental health. And so towards the end of my bit, I started to adjust. And I started to, as I said, with no matter how much I presented as a gay man, I was always going to be the girl. And it was very liberating because I didn't have the toxic masculinity expectation of the gay white man community to live up to. So I was able to easier embrace Like the guy that I was with first, he would always tell me when I was on the phone and my hip would jut out and I would stand in a more feminine way, he would always tell me to tighten up. And we used to get so pissed off at him. And but it was his attempt to keep me safe. But it all of a sudden became much more liberating because I didn't have to hold up to any ideal but my own. And I was able to I used my favorite phrase by the end of prison became, because I stopped talking to people in a slick way, and I started to say in a very firm tone was, I don't talk to you that way, so you cannot talk to me that way. And that was it. There was no snicker at the end. There was no laughing it off. It was very straightforward. And people shut down because they didn't know how to take it. And I leaned into my queer space and the queer joy. I mean, going shopping now for one of my friends who's transitioning, just all the pleasure that I get now out of the diversity of the world and not being in the gay white man silo is so much more liberating and enjoyable than what my life was before. So in many ways, it was like a rebirth.
Wow, that's really powerful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much to our attendees for their really insightful questions. There are just a couple left that I am going to sort of combine together and ask Casper. First one is a logistical question. How do we get in contact with people on the inside who might want to write it with us or create publications with us or be interviewed on our podcast?
Cool. I'll try and keep the answers brief here since we're running out of time. We mostly communicate with people through the mail system. Most prisons still seem to be stuck in the 17th century. So we communicate mostly through letter writing, sending through snail mail. We also communicate through phone systems, which most are from the 80s, so that can be very difficult, especially with trying to record phone interviews for a podcast over that. There's lots of noise and crackling and phone calls dropping and all sorts of stuff. So those are the two main ways. Some prisons are starting to get technology. So folks are being issued tablets where they have access to a little bit of like an email system. Some prisons only go one way though. So they can maybe either send out a message but not receive it, or receive a message but not send it out. And every prison is different across the nation. They all have their own rules and regulations along the mailroom. But actually, if you go to our website and click on our pen pals section, you can find a lot of information about connecting with people in prison there. So that has more like a longer answer to that question if you're interested in finding out more.
Awesome. Yay. And then the other one is for you as a podcast host of Teleway 411. Is it challenging for you to get folks to open up when you're either interviewing them in person, as we got to do with Brian, or over the phone as we had to for a lot of our currently incarcerated contributors on the first season?
Well, thankfully for this first season, like with Brian and Sirbrian, we have had connections for many years. Through letter writing, we stayed in contact after folks got to come back home. So we had, a little bit of a friendship already built up, and it was just kind of nice to sit down with a friend and hear their story firsthand. I have never interviewed people before, really, prior to doing this podcast, so it was a learning experience all the way around. But I love just getting to talk to people and hearing all about their lives. So for me, it was always really enjoyable. I just, it's pretty natural for me to just want to ask questions from people and hear more about who they are as a person and learn all about them. So this was nerve-wracking for me because I'm very introverted, but also wonderful and fun, and I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to get to do it. For people opening up, yeah, it's sensitive topics here, asking about their experiences inside prison. A lot of people go through traumatic events, and a lot of people are trying to forget, their time in prison, or just take things that they learned and apply them to their lives now, but kind of close that chapter and start a new one. So opening up those stories again can be kind of challenging for people. But I think it's really important in the processing realm to kind of delve back into what happened, their experiences. Writing that out is really beneficial for people. And I think speaking about it with people who love them, I think can also be really beneficial. So I haven't had any real trouble in like having people open up to me, but it's definitely it's challenging in a little way because I don't want to cross boundaries with people. I don't want to trigger them. I don't want to ask questions that are going to make things very difficult for them, in their lives now. So it's kind of a fine line to try and walk, but mostly I just try and come to people with love and understanding, and that seems to work pretty well, I guess.
So great. Okay, last question is from me. What are your hopes and dreams for season 2?
Oh, that's from you.
Of the podcast, yeah. From me, sorry, it's from me.
Okay.
It's from me to you, yeah.
Gotcha. I thought it was from you to you, asking you the question.
I mean, I could answer it too, but I think you should first.
Sure. Hopes and dreams for season 2. I just want to get to know more people. We get to learn about people's lives through letter writing and stuff, but like folks mentioned on this panel, a lot of times people have to be very careful about what they send in letters, about what they actually disclose. And a lot of times we get kind of coded messages that, since I haven't been incarcerated myself, don't really make sense to me. And I have to try and read between the lines and piece things together a lot of times because people don't want to send something that's going to get them in trouble or sent away from their loved ones. So I'm really excited to actually get to sit down with more folks who are coming home to us and hear, or on the phone, and just hear more. So I guess my hopes are just to connect with more people and feel more connected.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, pretty much same. I got to guest interview my pen pal on the past season, and I'm really, really excited about another potential guest interview spot with the incredible artist who drew the cover for our upcoming Queer Prisoners Comix anthology, which we will be ready to send to your homes, to your loved ones for the holidays. It's off to print. We're really, really excited about this publication, and the next season of the podcast next year, and keeping up with everything that Brian and Sirbrian and Devin will be doing in 2023. The last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to drop a link in the Zoom chat. We currently have a fundraiser running for all of our currently incarcerated contributors who made work for the Comix anthology that we're publishing. This is something that we want folks to spread far and wide. Any little bit helps to fundraise for donations back to folks' commissary accounts so they can buy essential items while they are in prison. So yeah, share with your networks, please. And thank you all so much. Thank you, Brian, Sirbrian, Devin, for joining. It was really fun to talk to you.
Okay, same here.
Thank you all. It was amazing. And I just want to go back to one thing that was in the video, which was Jeferson stated that their gratitude was eternal. And I think that from all of the people that we've heard from, that these help and this just being there and being able to have like a lifeline outside, it really is gratitude. So thank you for your work. And I know folks are very grateful that you are there and doing the work. Brian, Devin, Thank you so much for sharing such personal stories to all of us and the library community. We thank you so much for being open and honest. And I know it can be easy. So really thank you so much. And then Casper and Ollie, keep up the damn good work. Yes. People, buy your books. Buy some books. Give them as gifts. Buy 2. All right, friends. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. And we'll see you same place, same time tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.